It's coming up to 6 AM on a mid-February Tuesday morning, and I'm at my local railway station, Wiltshire Park again, to do a train assisted ride. I'm going a few stops up the line to Wiltshire, and then today I'm riding down the Wylye Valley again. I'm going to a thankful village. It's coming up. Here it comes, a few minutes late. Morning. Right, thanks. Cheers.
This is Oakfield Park.
Do not try to board or leave the train when the doors are closed.
This is a Great Western Railway service to Portsmouth Harbour.
Just coming into Bath Spa because I'm visiting a thankful village today. Got my knitted woolen poppy, which is part of a 5-year project, visiting all UK's thankful villages and even a knitted poppy each. I've gone back to having an e-ticket, much nicer than a paper ticket. Also got my rail card downloaded so you can sort of see just instant access. Okay, just get my Garmin's fired up, and hopefully I've got a route that starts from this side of the car park that'll take me all round the edge of Wiltshire, and then I'll get onto Wylye Valley Road in less than a mile. Just while I wait for the Garmin's to load up and pick up the GPS signal. The thankful village then is Stapleford. It's on the Wylye Valley Road between Wiltshire and Salisbury, and the total distance is going to be about 56 miles. That's that one picked up. Just waiting for the old 200 to pick up, and then we'll be on our way. Both the GPS devices have picked up the signal. Let's get going. Other side of the railway then, under a bridge. Oh, here's the other entrance. That'd be the main entrance heading south. I do know we go along by Lidl's and appear to cut through their car park. This left here by the look of it. Lidl's, Argos. Okay, I know where we are straight away. That one-stop shop up there, it's got a little alleyway just to the left of it, and that cuts across Imber Road, and then we'll straight away be on the road I want, heading out of Wiltshire to the Wylye Valley. That's it, see the footpath there? In less than half a mile, I'm at a familiar location. If I'd come in from Bath then, if I'd ridden down this morning instead of the train, I'd have come in from the left here. Now I'm straight on familiar roads. I'm starting halfway down between Bath and Stapleford at Wiltshire station back there. I just wanted to save a couple of hours, which I'd rather spend later this morning exploring some off-road tracks. Using the Ride with GPS platform, I've made a route up which looks like I can avoid the A36. I have to cross it a couple of times, but not ride on it. Whether it's rideable or not, I don't know. So there'll be new tracks for me. And also, if they are rideable, it could very well be muddy because we've had a lot of rain recently. There's a possibility I may have to walk some of it, which is why I just didn't want the extra 20 miles. 7 AM and you can see it's almost light already. It's dark enough to still need bike lights and have all my reflective kit on, but the days are definitely starting to lengthen. This would be the old A36 coming out of Wiltshire. It's now been bypassed by more of a trunk road. But I'm just cutting across this road. You can see why I didn't really want to come through Wiltshire. A lot of traffic. And we're straight away on the Wiley Valley Road. We're just about to cross the River Wiley there, for the first of a few times to date. It's now about 7:20 and we're in the Wiley Valley on this lovely little minor road. This is one of the options for the Wiltshire Cycleway. You can see the geography in the landscape. It curves up very steeply that way, then it rises up to what would be a Roman road along there, the course of an old Roman road between Old Sarum and Charteris on the Mendips, and over the other side would be the Nadder Valley. So this valley runs along, and then that side there's some chalk downs, and that would eventually head up onto the Marlborough Downs. Our thankful village of Stapleford is a few miles down here, and then we turn over left, cross over the A36, and it looks like you can actually ride to it on some old ancient tracks. It's called Berwick Lane. Whether it's rideable or not, I don't know. I've never actually tried it. So basically we'd be going along here several miles, turning left, crossing the A36, starting to climb up on some tracks, and basically going up and doing three sides of a square, and then dropping down into Stapleford from the north. If it's really awful, I'll have to retrace via the main road, but that's what today's all about. It's just so lovely along here, especially this early in the morning. Next weekend I've got another calendar Audax event. It's a 100-kilometre event, about 110 actually, from Chippenham, called Fletcher's Flapjack. Ridden it many times before. Chippenham's about 14 miles from where I live, so that's a 28-mile round trip to get there. So it'll end up being about a 100-mile ride. I need to rebuild my endurance back up after our trip to Dorchester recently, and that bus trip from Bath to Dorchester was absolutely fantastic. We both really enjoyed it. The first section between Bath and Wells, it was a school bus in effect, lots of stops, lots of children getting on and off at different schools. Couldn't really film that too much. But we got on a virtually empty bus at Wells. You probably saw from the footage, we got upstairs on a double-decker bus, had the front seats looking out that big window. And some of it was main roads, but it also went down to pretty narrow roads, much narrower than what we're on now. So that's quite a thrill, being up on the top of a double-decker bus. Linda gets her bus pass this July. She'll be 66. I'm about 18 months behind her. So I can see us both doing some bus trips in the coming years, because we both decided we really like that journey. We're just crossing over the railway, so I got off at Wiltshire back that way and is heading down towards Salisbury, following this valley, pretty much doing what we're doing. Shortly after crossing the railway, where I just spoke to you, you come through the small hamlet of Stockton. That's Stockton Farm up there where the coach is. The point of reference there is there's a cobbled road going across an old track. But just down from that rise is this. It's a memorial to the Anzacs who were stationed here in the First World War, and paying recognition to Anzac war graves. So easy just to ride by this at speed and miss it altogether, but it's well worth stopping here. There's some war graves all the way down this valley, so there were many soldiers stationed here in the First World War. And you're probably familiar with white horses carved into chalk hillsides, but there's also a lot of military badges down here, not just here but further down near Wilton. So I'm heading down this very quiet Wiley Valley Road. Very shortly I'm going to go over and cross over the A36, but to try and avoid riding on it to get to my first destination. See those hills in the distance? There's some old ancient tracks going up over there, so I'm going to try and do three sides of a square over the village of Stapleford. I'm just coming into the small village of Wiley. It's a very, very busy road junction. So this is the minor road I'm taking down, the Wiltshire Salisbury road that the Wiltshire Cycleway also uses. The A36 is just over there, but crossing it almost at 90 degrees, that's a big trunk road. That's the A303, London that way, Exeter that way. So you can see there's a big VOSA area there, and the railway runs. By complete coincidence, there's a train going by, look, runs right alongside the road. Perfect timing. That's heading down to Salisbury. If I hadn't got off the train at Wiltshire, that's where the line would have come. Anyway, through Wiley, a bit further down to Langford's, and then we'll be crossing over the left. Bit of a junction then as you come into Wiley. Head down to the A36, you would go there. And this little cut through is called Teapot Street. Some great names down here, look, Nutmeg Cottage. And this little spur, wonderfully named Teapot Street. That wonderful old chapel. It's even called the chapel, look. It's now a private residence. Wow. We're coming into Hanging Langford. You can see our road coming along here. The railway running along that embankment. Just about to go through a cutting behind this hill. You can see we're coming into one of the Langfords. Hanging Langford. So our village, Stapleford, is over that way to the left. Quite excited about this because I didn't even know these tracks existed until recently. I used the Ride with GPS mapping platform and I set the overlay to OSM Outdoor. I think that stands for open source mapping, and it just opens up a whole lot of footpaths, bridleways. Then if you change it to OSM Cycle, they're still there. So that suggests to me they're rideable, but what sort of state they're in, well, we're going to find out soon, aren't we? We're now leaving this minor road. It's called the Wiley Road. At Langford Parish Hall. It's a lovely single-storey brick community building. We're heading down Duck Street towards Steeple Langford. It says down here, look, Langford Lakes Nature Reserve. It's basically where the River Wiley just splits into a zillion little bits and forms lakes before it then carries on down towards Wilton. So we're going to cross the River Wiley here. You can see how it's flooded, broken its banks, spilled over into fields. Fields are very waterlogged. Oh, here's the main river, I think. Oh, the Kingfisher Cafe's down there. As I said, it splits along here. On it. There's one section coming in, another one. There's the other one down there. Says there's a Kingfisher's Cafe down there. That might be well worth a look. Okay, I need to pay attention here because I think we're coming up to what used to be the old A36. It's a bit where they've bypassed the village just to make it a bit safer. And this would have been the old A36, yeah. Which now leads on to the new A36. And it's along here, we need to cross it at 90 degrees. That's why I've brought out two Garmins. The older one is a little bit more detailed, although that one's just pinged to suggest I'm going down here, and that's what this one seems to confirm. So that avoids me going up onto the A36 there. Again, this is part of the old A36 before they straightened it out and widened it. Pub there called Rainbow on the Lake. So this used to be the old main road. That pub's called the Rainbow Trout, I guess. And there's the big fishing lake down there. Must go in to explore that sometime. Meanwhile, I need to get across here and get onto a track called Berwick Lane. I think that's how you pronounce it. Berwick. Camper van, look. Nice place to hole up for the night. So I think we're going to go along this path here. You can see where they've put concrete obstacles in to stop traffic using this old section of the road. It's what you call a green lane, isn't it? It literally is green. Now hopefully there's something going off on the left hand side similar to this. You can see why I don't like riding this road. I've nothing against cars and traffic, it's just I wouldn't want to ride on the road for this very long. Single carriageway, trunk road, so we need to get across into what used to be an old lay-by. This is what I'm trying to avoid by doing this, not having to ride on this road. I'll be crossing it a few times, but hopefully not riding on it. Okay, now what? Along here, looking for a left, is that it up there? Looks like this is it. Well, it looks like an old minor road, doesn't it? Gosh, it's like an old air raid shelter there. There's a gate out there, can I get through that? That's what today's all about really, just seeing whether this is possible. Certainly not going to trespass if it says keep out. As I said, the mapping seems to suggest you can ride this. Oh. There's a gap in the fence here. Right, hill start. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Okay, so far so good. As I remember this from the mapping then, it tends to go on and then we turn off to the right, although this road would go on, and there's a bit of off-road. So I think it's probably only metalled up to the farm buildings. Then there's a little bit of, well, we'll see, non-metalled, could be a muddy track, before we join a corresponding lane like this over there, which will take us into Stapleford. I'm kind of looking out for anything which suggests this is a byway. So I don't deliberately want to trespass. There's someone walking down, whether that's a rambler or a farm worker maybe, you can always ask them. It's a dog walker up there, or maybe politely ask if this is a public byway or even a restricted byway. Both of them mean I've got legal right to be on here. Just to explain while I'm a bit out of breath, there's a bit of a grind up here. You can see the way I'm climbing up. You cannot see any traffic, but you can just hear it. You know it's running just over the brow of that hill. Then you can sort of see the Wiley Valley climbing steeply that way, where that cloud line is. That would be the Roman road along there, or just past that, heading towards the Mendips that way. Meantime, you can see from the newer of the two Garmins, we're about to turn right, and I think that's going to be taking us behind that barn. Okay, we're leaving this metal track, turning right down by that barn, leaving a farmhouse. It ceases to be metalled here, turning into a gravel track. Oh, we're going to pass that dog walker. I might just confirm this is a public byway. That was a really helpful conversation. I'm such a friendly guy. He confirmed this is a byway. I said, you know, I wasn't sure. I didn't want to trespass. He said, no, you've got perfect right to use this. He said, apart from the track down to the farm. I went, oh gosh, that's the way I just came. and he said they're sort of okay about it. But when I go back, he said if I go straight across that crossroads, it'll be like this, and it'll still be byway, and that'll take me down to Steeple Langford, which is where I've just come from. So again, I'll explore that on the way back. I don't want to be encouraging people to trespass. And this will be our road down into Stapleford. Even after a lot of rain, this is rideable. It's quite compact and hard gravel, a bit bumpy, need to take care, ride cautiously. But if it's like this after a lot of rain, I imagine in the summer it's going to be easier to ride. Looks like we're going to do a sharp left, then start curving into the village. Oh yeah, here, look. So my GPS is sending me through this very sharp left-hand angled track. And look, you can see tractor marks. So it's compact enough to take a tractor. And then it's saying curve round to the right here. Yeah, just had a ping. At the end of that track, that little spur, you're joining this track then that comes down following the line of the trees. Then Stapleford should be down here. And then very suddenly it becomes a metal track here into Stapleford. What an amazing way to arrive at my first destination. I still can't see any signs of the village. Oh, I've just caught one or two little greenhouses or outside structures. Oh, I'm starting to see some cottages. So just quickly how I found out about this. I very rarely read cycling magazines or books. If you just read cycling magazines, you're just going to read what everyone else is reading. I actually got this route from a dog walker, actually. It just came up on my feed when I was doing a bit of research for my summer trip. And I thought, hey, you know, going by their photographs, that all looks rideable. And it had cut out the busy bit of A36. So I'll drop a link to that. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be in the description below. If you're watching it on Facebook, it'll probably be in the first comment. So I got this idea from a dog walker who had posted the route complete with the GPX. See the church over there? That's where I'm heading for, because I know there's a Thankful Village slate plaque in there, and that's where I'm going to leave my knitted woolly poppy. It's part of a 5-year project. I'm visiting all the UK's Thankful Villages and leaving a knitted poppy each. My darling wife Linda is knitting with these lovely woolen poppies. But hey, what a way to arrive at my first destination, Stapleford. Oh, this is a fantastic way to arrive at Thankful Village. Wow. If I just stop and look back, that would be the old ancient route into the village. Oh, it says MOD vehicles are cut there, so the military clearly use it. Wow. No boundary sign. Well, I suppose you wouldn't expect one, would you? Oh, horse rider in front of me. I thought I could hear that lovely sound. Horseshoes on tarmac. What a beautiful, beautiful place. Must be a main road we're coming up to. Village bus just passed. When you come down off the hill, it's the crossroads, so I turn right, coming through the village. So there's a little green area, parking up area. Look at this wonderful sign. 2014 best kept village. Stapleford, Wiltshire. Look at this for a village street of thatched cottages. Just trying to work out how to get in the church. I thought maybe that was it out there, but not quite. Church entrance kind of creeps up on you as you're curling through back out the village. Going to go in, hopefully you can get in. Outer wire mesh gate in the porch. Taking my hat off already. Here's today's knitted woolen poppy. Keep the birds and the wildlife out. Let's hope we can get in. Donation, I'll leave one before we leave. Yes. Oh wow. Just turn some light switches on, but they don't appear to be working. On my last video, I was reading the description. I said a bear, whatever that means, B-I-E-R, could be a beer or a buyer. Apparently that's what that is. That is to wheel the coffin in when it arrives. There's the Stapleford plaque, look. This is what I've come for today, to leave my knitted poppy at the Stapleford Thankful Village plaque. I was first told about Thankful Villages just a couple of years ago by a YouTube subscriber called James. Thank you very much once again, James. And I started visiting them because Somerset has 9, more than any other county in England and Wales. Sadly, Scotland and Ireland don't have any. So what is a Thankful Village? A Thankful Village is where every person, man and woman, who went off to serve in the First World War returned home safely. The list seems to be constantly changing. My current count is 57. I soon discovered that at these Thankful Villages, normally at the church, but not always, sometimes maybe on a village green, would be these slate plaques saying the name of the village, such as this one, Stapleford, a Thankful Village. This particular plaque at Stapleford is different to all the others. All the others have been slate, and underneath where it says Thankful Village, the others say 1914 to 2014, marking the centenary of the outbreak of the First World War. I found out that the slate plaques, the one with the centenary years on, were presented to the villagers by some bikers who did this tour in 2014. And recently I came across some more details about that. The source was The Guardian Online. There was a question about Thankful Villages, how many are there? In one of the responses, I'll put it on the screen now, it's from a biker called Dougie Bancroft, telling the readers of The Guardian about their plans in the following year, 2014, to motorcycle around all the 51 at the time Thankful Villages and present them with a slate plaque. Of course, once I saw that article, there's some links in that to their Facebook page, and you can see lots of photographs. And so now I'm about halfway through my 5-year project to visit all the UK's 57, I believe at this moment in time, Thankful Villages, try to locate the slate plaques and leave my knitted poppy at each. As I referred to, this Stapleford Thankful Village plaque is different to the others. It doesn't have the 1914 to 2014 years underneath them, and also it doesn't appear to be slate. It's got a kind of plasticky film. I think it's either laminated wood or possibly very good solid quality plastic, but I'm going to leave my poppy there anyway. There's a little framed description next to it about Thankful Villages, so I'll just quickly read it out. A Thankful Village is one in which no men or women were lost in the Great War serving king and country. There are 56 villages in England and Wales considered to be Thankful Villages, with Stapleford being the only one in Wiltshire. It is uncertain just how many men left Stapleford and returned safely, but research has identified the following: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If anybody reading this is aware of an individual who they feel should be on the list, please contact the chairman of the parish council. As I said, it hasn't got the centenary inscription on. Just before I run outside and get some money to bring in, put in the collection box, I'll sign the visitor's book. So as always, I look at the last people that have come to sign the visitor's book. And I think that says the 2nd of the 1st, 24. Before that was the 3rd of the 12th, 15th of the 11th. I'm not saying they're the only people to visit, but they're the only people that have visited and signed the visitor's book. As I said, this is a vested church, so as I understand it, there's services in here regularly. So I've signed the visitor's book, the 20th of the 2nd, 24, Andy C. from Bath, Somerset. And I've put part of my 5-year project visiting all 57 thankful villages by bicycle, leaving a knitted poppy at each. There's a bit of rain in the air, but I can hear traffic going by, and I've just seen a few cars zooming along, so that must be the A36 over there. I can see a big red something, but that's part of a garage, filling station or not, I'm not sure. Oh gosh, you're right up in the distance, very misty, that's the big hill line. That's pretty much what I'll be doing when I retrace that route back up, turn left, along, and then instead of going down through the farm the way I came up, I'll carry a bit further along. Then he said carry on, it'll take you down to Langford, which is where I want to get to anyway. Let's have a wander around the churchyard. In the church, what looks like it's overlooking a wildlife pond is the Henry Bennett Memorial Garden. Father of the hybrid teas, 1823 to 1890. Lived at Manor Farm, 1858 to 1880. And this garden and the sign is sponsored by the Wiltshire Gardens Trust. It was erected in 2007. Daffodils, snowdrops, some rose bushes, and that remains of an old tree covered in ivy. I'm now reading from the Hellfire website, which is all about thankful villages, and I've got the page up about Stapleford, so I'm going to read from that. It says, a short distance from the church is Thatcher's Cottage, where in the summer of 1938 Ralph Vaughan Williams, the composer, found accommodation and composed part of his great Fifth Symphony. His second wife Ursula had been reported as saying that he enjoyed walking to Salisbury, more than 7 miles away, to meet his friends, the cathedral organist Walter Woolcock, who played back with him in the cathedral. Sorry, I misread that. We're just leaving the church now, but before we head back that way, let's just walk up here, see if I can identify Thatcher's Cottage, Stapleford, St Mary. I'm assuming Thatcher's Cottage might be one of these along here. Leaving the church, I turned left, took this detour along here, past all those thatched cottages, and they were not what I was looking for. This is Thatcher's Cottage. This is where Vaughan Williams stayed in 1938, gained inspiration to write a symphony. Okay, we're now heading back that way past the church. Hard to believe this is just off that busy A36 bus stop there with its shelter, Chapel Lane, and then you get this view heading towards the church. This is looking down at the River Till, which flows through the village, and it actually flows into the River Wylye just south of Stapleford. Just before we leave the village, another recognition, Stapleford being the best kept village 2014, winner of the small village class. There's a nice little recreation area here through this gate. Look at this. The River Till rises near Tillshead upon Salisbury Plain. It flows for about 14 kilometres, which is 8.6 miles, into the River Wylye nearby Stapleford. And then the River Wylye flows into the River Nadder at Wiltshire, and that in turn joins the River Avon at Salisbury, which then flows southwards and flows into the English Channel near Christchurch on the south coast. Gentleman, there's his dog, look. Dog's loving that water. Reluctantly coming out. I think the gentleman's ready to go. And we're heading back this way. Or more specifically, up there, along that ridge line. Now done most of the elevation back up on the high ground. Looking back down where we come from, Stapleford, you can't even see it from there. You can definitely see the line of that ridge up there. It's where the Roman road goes. Somewhere over there is Groveley Woods. You actually climb out of Wilton and go straight up on the old Roman road, looking down on the Wylye Valley Road. Now what we're doing, heading up to that defined line of trees. You can see there's an arrow just behind it, marking the summit, I guess. Turn left along there a little bit, then turn right, back up that kind of crossroads. We're going to go left, but overshoot where we came up, because that gentleman sort of said to me, if you carry on, it is Brideway, and that'll eventually get you back down to Langford Lakes. So I want to do this as properly as I can. I don't want to be shown deliberately going through private roads. I did that accidentally earlier on because my GPS sent me up there, but now I know otherwise I don't want to retrace that way back. Just passing a big reservoir there of sludge, very farmyardy smell, and that little antenna there. Now it's straight on for a mile or so. Wow, wonderful up here. We're back at the track where I came up this way, and you can clearly see from this direction it says private road. It does also warn you there'll be Land Rovers and tanks possibly coming along here. It's a military road as well. But I don't want to go back to that farmyard because I shouldn't really have gone through there. The gentleman said if I carry along here, it will take me along a bit further, and then I can drop down to lakes there. And it says there, very narrow track ahead. Drivers or motorcycles expect to meet walkers and horses. Please drive with extreme caution. I'll certainly be cycling with extreme caution. This ain't for the faint-hearted. The wheel's slipping a lot. It's very slippery coming down here, so I'm going quite cautiously. But I can hear the noise, and I can see I'm coming down to join the main road. And it looks like there's an underpass underneath it, so that's possibly what we're heading for. Dropping rapidly. Just need to compose myself a bit here before we do the final plunge down. Looking across there, I can see almost like a hide, a bird hide. I wonder if that's private land. Yeah, private land in there. Possibly military or possibly private hunting ground. You can see there's like a track coming down, heading towards the road. I've got a feeling this is going to bend round and come into that, and then go underneath the main road. So probably not too far to go till we're back on tarmac. I just had to dismount down there. You can see it said it got very chalky and the wheel was slipping everywhere. This is the A36, and you can see, look, there's a stile across, signposted byway, and it looks like there's a corresponding stile over there. But I'm pretty sure I saw a footbridge around there, so that's what I'm going to investigate, go along there. I need to bear over to my left, which would make sense to get back on that Wylye Valley Road. We're now on this metal track. So let's see where this goes. Well, right on cue, where I need to start veering over to the left. Look, there's a left-hand fork. It's a public brideway sign up there. So this is perfectly legal to ride. Then hopefully this is going to drop us down underneath the A36, back into Wylye Valley. I can see cars down there, so clearly this is a road that traffic uses. clearly coming in some sort of village. Quite exciting this. I can't get too lost. Oh gosh, I just see the spire of the church. Coming into a farmyard. Lovely metal roofed spire. Start of a road forming. As I said, I can't get too lost, but just at this moment I'm not exactly sure where I am. Oh, is this Langford, is it? Okay, this is what I rode up earlier on actually. So straight on, hanging Langford. Yep, I came up this way earlier on past the lake. I might take that left hand turn down and see what that cafe's like. Go and have a look at the lakes anyway. Another train going by. Just going to plod on now back to Wiltshire, then into Bath. It's about 2:30 now. I'm back on a nice quiet road in the Wylye Valley, heading from Wishford up to Wiltshire and eventually back to Bath. Just coming through the small settlement of Boyton, not much more than a few houses. And I saw a sign pointing towards the church, so I've come down to have a look. Feels like a lovely spring afternoon, even though I know there's some severe weather on the way, wet weather and cold weather coming. Let's go and have a look. Fairly solid wooden doors. I think most people know in olden times people could claim sanctuary from the law in churches, and as I understand it, that's why they've had these round handles. That's called a sanctuary ring. Once you touch that, you were protected from the law by the church until about the 1700s, I think. That privilege was retracted. Right above the bell tower, sometimes above porches, you would have classrooms, and I wonder if that used to be a classroom in there, maybe in the olden days. Not sure. Wire mesh door, it's probably to keep the birds out. Yeah, please close the door immediately, birds can enter. I've seen birds trapped in churches before. It's very difficult to get them out. Straight into the nave. Font over there. Grand old wooden organ, pigmented pipes. I'm very aware that I got muddy feet earlier on. I've cleaned most of the mud off, but I'm not going to walk onto any carpet edge, say for instance out there. I'm not going to go up to the chancel. There's the wooden pulpit. Quite grand carvings on them, look. Heads of angels by the look of it. On the sound reflector above it. Project the sound of the sermon out, stop it all dissipating up into a high ceiling. Yeah, I won't go up into chancel here. Gosh, is that Crusader? Let's go and have a look. That separate chapel in here by the look of it through these arches. Another tomb there, ornamentally carved stone. That is a Crusader, isn't it? Does it say Sir Alexander Gifford, Crusader, yeah. Hero of the Battle of somewhere, Mansoura in Egypt, 1250. Note the splendid shield of unique importance to heraldists, I think that says, and the otter at the feet. 13th century Crusader. His shield of importance to heraldists, and the otter at his feet, chewing his sword by the look of it. Gosh, really grand circular window there, some stained glass on, very light in here. Those recesses in there, I think I'm right in saying that Christianity is about 2,000 years old, and for about 3/4 of that, there was no seating in churches. People were just expected to stand or kneel, but they would just sometimes carve seats into the stone walls, and that's for the elderly or the infirm or the partially disabled, before the introduction of pews, which are a relatively modern introduction. The stone wall seats in churches are the origin of the phrase, the weakest to the wall. Gosh, that tomb of the Crusader reminds me of the life-size effigy of T.E. Lawrence, better known as Lawrence of Arabia, at St Martin's Church at Wareham. It's about 10 to 6 in the evening now, and it's still fairly lightish. I've just come back over the 2 tunnels. I actually got to Midford and decided to take the really difficult way up over Coombe Hay. That nearly finished me off for the day, and then dropped down Bear Flat, and I just thought I'd come down to the portal. This is the portal that's been flooded till recently. Hard to tell how deep it is. As I came down there from Bloomfield Track, I saw a runner go that way. So whether they'd come down here, turn around and gone back, I don't know. I'm hoping somebody might come along. Is that a runner coming now? Just to give me an idea of how deep it is, actually. So yeah, there might be. Try not to blind them. And there's someone coming through this way. It's hard to tell. I'd say it's about 30 to 50 metres long, but it's hard to tell how deep it is. Somebody's coming through with their dog, so this is the litmus test, really. Try not to blind them. No, they've turned around and gone the other way. Same with these walkers as well. So people are clearly avoiding it. What happened was, before Christmas, I was coming back from a long ride, came through, I suppose, about 6 or 7 inches of water. Didn't think too much of it. Rode out to Imber on New Year's Day, went down into that. Next thing I know, it was up above my knees. And I suddenly thought, gosh, this is deep. And then somebody had put some tree stumps up above, almost like stepping stones. I nearly went into a couple of those. It's so dangerous. And then Sustrans actually gated the tunnel, and they've identified a drain problem. It's only recently been opened the last couple of days, but I would say, my own view, that's probably unrideable. Okay, I'm nearly at my home. I'm just going to leave the 2 tunnels shortly, and I'm going to finish the video here. Hope you've enjoyed coming along. I've just been up to Devonshire Tunnel, had a look at the portal, put a little post on Facebook so people can sort of see it for themselves, make their own mind up. My feeling was people were going up to it, turning around and coming back. Having said that, I've just seen a couple of cyclists going that way. If I'd waited a couple more minutes, I might have seen if they'd attempted it or not. I did notice as I was dropping down off the hill, because I rode over the tunnels, a couple of cyclists were going up that way, so my gut feeling is cyclists are avoiding it as well. Anyway, end of the video. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.